Alright, so we're gonna move along. So first topic that I was actually thinking of talking about, you guys really brought something to my attention, and I want to talk about that first, and then we can go on and maybe think about some other things to kind of talk about. But first thing I want to talk about is like how much pain is downplayed, how much disrespect the motherfucker gets, and most importantly, like. In my opinion, let me know if you disagree or not with what I'm about to say. But I swear to God, he is severely underrated.
He is, which I think, in my opinion, is probably because people have seen what Madara can do, right? So people just compare Pain to Madara because they have the same type of eyes, and then it's just pretty much why Pain is being downplayed too much to a point where they're like, okay, fine, Naruto kind of lost to Pain, but at the same time, he did have his soul intact.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very weird argument, but I've seen people say that. Like at least I've heard people say that. So yeah,
I
which
feel
is
you.
probably why Pain has that problem because Madara had the same eyes, and then Madara did so much fucking better than Pain, and
Mm.
people are like, "Ha, okay, Madara did better. Who the fuck is Pain now?"
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Egg fucking exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But no, absolutely, I agree. If we're talking about fucking Madara out of all characters, like, come on now, like that's like dead ass. I would never ever, in anyone's right mind, ever even think of this as discussing. But like, fucking to ever even talk about Edo Madara versus Pain, or a live Rinnegan Madara versus Pain.
Nah,
Like if
nah,
you
nah,
if
nah,
you
nah.
even mention that, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're a rat. You're Noodles 2.0. Okay, like mind you, the only thing I've ever discussed because I thought it would still be really cool, like just the it'd be very like what's the word? It starts with an N, like nostalgic. How the fuck you say it, okay? You know the word I'm talking about. You know the word I'm talking about? It starts with an N. Like it's like I'm gonna try to say it, but I'm gonna butcher it. Like nostalgic. Am I saying it
Mm-hmm.
correctly? It'd
Yeah,
be
you're
something
saying
like
it right.
that and charisma. Like or like it would be fucking cool to see like Pain fighting against like EMS Madara before he even has the Rinnegan, before he has Hosh cells. Like EMS Madara or maybe even Mangekyo Madara. That would actually be really fucking cool to watch. I would still more than likely have my money on Madara. It's fucking Madara at the end of the day. But like, I think it would be cool because we know how Madara is. He's a cocky dickhead, and he has no issues flexing his power. You know what I mean? Like he'll like look perfect examples. He didn't immediately go bloodlusted and go all out in the Shinobi Alliance. He had fun. You know what I mean? Like he toured with them. You know what I mean? Like he was fighting all of them, fucking them up, fighting everybody, Naruto, Gaara, you name it. Then starts throwing down with the five Kage. Like he didn't even go all out with them. He wasn't even trying. You know what I mean? You name it. Until like eventually towards the end, they like were able to kind of push him at a certain moment. But once again, that's because he was holding back. If he wasn't holding back, that moment would have never even been created. And like so, since he was holding back, and kind of fucking around and having fun, aka dancing. That's what he loves to do. Okay, like then they push him to a corner. He's like, all right, bet. Like I will. Like I'll never forget that line. What was it, okay? Like they're like, this is the power of the five Kage, and then Madara's like, bet I'll show you the full power of Madara Uchiha, right? And he just fucking goes PS, and they're just shitting their pants. You know what I mean? Like, so like it gets to the point where
He
like
said he said that our mother Uchiha also responded with full power.
yeah, like it was such a badass fucking moment, dude. Like, oh, that shit got me out of
You,
my seat when I first
you
saw
are
that.
you are truly a shinobi worth of the title of the five Kage. Then I'll also responded with full power. Yeah.
Literally, yeah. So like, and mind you, that's because like they're having good, synergy, like their teamwork. They're really trying. They got mental amps fucking going on. Like there's so much to it of why they were even performing the way they were doing against them. Because if you compared them like five Kage as they were like in the summit, they would be nowhere near where they were at in the war arc. You know what I mean?
But it was
Nowhere
the
near. No
reason,
mental amps, no teamwork. So
the reason here is like, remember Onoki, what he said after
that
the
too.
combo?
Yeah.
He looked at him and he was like, yeah, do you see this? This is the power of the five Kage.
Yes.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so there's so many like reasons why that even happened the way it happened, and obviously the biggest one, Madara just holding back and enjoying himself. You know what I mean? Like, you might as well have some fun before you conquer the world, and then you can't fight anyone. You know what I mean? That too. So fucking, it gets to the point where that's happening. You name it. So then back to the pain thing. Like, it would be really fucking cool. Like, let's say somehow, some way, Nagato's around their timeline, right? Okay, and he's around, and regardless if he's either healthy or if he's on the fucking machine, I still think Nagato would still probably utilize the Paths of Pains. I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this. I don't think Nagato would only ever resort to using the Paths of Pains because he ended up with those injuries after using like that Soul Dragon with the Ghetto statue. It's fair to argue otherwise and be like that's why he did come up with that idea. Because now he can't fucking move, so yeah, he needs to kind of figure out how to be involved and do shit. But like, then again, like you have Obito, you know what I mean, to where he wasn't crippled, he wasn't you know what I mean, like he had no like. If I'm really being honest, like he really didn't even fucking need to like do what Nagato did, where he had rods in them. He could have easily just used his fucking Sharingan to control them, and you name it, and use the Ghetto statue and been just fine. The rods are just basically like a secondary precaution, basically, just to be on the safe side. And then the Rinnegan was already kind of fucking with him, the amount of chakra and stamina it requires, you name it, and that was, kind of, giving Obito a hard time. So, like...
Actually, wait, no. Obito needed those rods. Obito needed those rods because
you think so? You don't think with just his Sharingan he would have been able to just kind of do his thing?
He would be able to put them in a Genjutsu, but don't forget their reanimations and their Jinchuriki, and those corpses that Nagato had were just dead.
Yeah,
there were
true.
no Jinchuriki.
Yeah,
father
true.
Ninja.
Yeah, but like true.
Even with the...
But see that. Go ahead.
Yeah, even with the 40s, he had to use rods in order to stabilize it.
Bro, that motherfucker did like a Kodomatsukami feat with the fucking like that was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, so like it gets to the point where like then you look at that. I mean that's kind of another example, kind of hinting towards what I'm arguing for. Like, you could definitely say it's possible for Nagato to still utilize 6 other dead fucking shinobi. Like, just to kind of be smart just in case before putting himself in danger, you know what I mean? To utilize them, kind of, do certain shit, you know what I mean? Like, look at Kakashi. Like, Kakashi, he's a very cautious paranoid ninja. Whenever he fights, he's always using shadow clones and substitution. It's literally in character. Always. Just to gauge his enemy's strength, come up with a counter strategy, you name it, Nagato's kind of similar with that. With the way he uses the Paths of Pains... He fucking strategizes, you know what I mean? Like, he's really fucking smart. He doesn't just immediately come out with all fucking 6, Like, depending on who his opponent is, he'll utilize the Paths of Pains in a certain formation, or only use a certain amount that he thinks is necessary, and then try to come up with, like, a certain strategy in place, and then have a contingency upon that strategy just in case, you know what I mean? If he does need to also summon the other paths. Like, Nagato's fucking smart. Like, what he did with Jiraiya... was really fucking smart. You know what I mean? Like, if all Paths of Pains were out, Jiraiya would have most definitely still died. You know what I mean? But, like, let's say Pain was pulling the same bullshit. You know what I mean? Holding back, kind of, like, you could easily argue that he had some type of, confliction as well, mental nerf, because that's his fucking master and his sensei, so on and so forth. But either way, like, let's say he's performing the same way he is, kind of, fucking around, whatever. Then Dry gets certain, moments where he's excelling, and then after those moments, then Pain's like, all right, I'm gonna get serious, fuck this bitch, and he's kind of now pushing him into a corner, and then Jiraiya's like, I'm gonna fucking die, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, and this only gets 2 Paths of Pains, remind you, fucking, you know what I mean? And then he starts retreating, and then comes up with the Genjutsu, which completely fucking just caught Pain off guard, because he never ever would expect Jiraiya to use Genjutsu. Like, you probably expect that out of Obito, Itachi, so on and so forth. Actual Genjutsu users. You know what I mean? So meaning he would have some type of strategy in place to somehow deal, whatever. Fucking, like, so then you have Jiraiya, I don't know, where whips fucking a broken-ass Genjutsu that's even stated in the data book to be one of the most strongest fucking Genjutsus, and he does it all, and they all die. Imagine if all 6 were out. You know what I mean? They all would have been dead. And then Nagato would have been like, fucking bitch. bitch. You know what I mean? Like, and then he would have to get Konan or someone in the Akatsuki to get some other 6 corpses and, fucking, and get back to it again. And that's what would have happened. You know what I mean? So, what's it called? I highly doubt Jiraiya would have fucking got a rod and put it in his body and did what Naruto did and came up with that plan. I don't think that would have came down to it, because when he killed those passive pains, he started walking away and leaving. Like, he was just going to go back to the hidden leaf. You know what I mean? Like, he thought he did what his job was and killed all, killed Pain or whatever, the leader of the Akatsuki. So he would have thought the same, like, all right, they're all dealt with, that's it. And then went about his day. Obviously, Nagato would have came back with just other different passive pains, or better yet, he would have just got those. He probably would have just got those bodies back. All he would have to do is get Konan to get them, bring them back, and do the same shit. They're dead fucking bodies, and Nagato could easily just bring them back with the hell, whatever the fuck that thing is called,
King of Hell.
Yeah. So like, if anything, he doesn't even really need to go get other bodies. He could just use the same bodies. They only got stabbed. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that's basically what would happen, But once again, Pain's not an idiot. For one, he doesn't underestimate people. For two, if he knows that person has a legendary status or has any remote of intel on that person, he responds effectively depending on who that person is. It's always in character what he does every fucking time, And then another thing that also helps is he even has Zetsu, who's the fucking intel guy that's knowing all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, so Pain knows. You know what I mean? Like, a lot. So, he's not an idiot. So, like, let's say the Akatsuki are a thing for whatever reason during Madara's time, and it wasn't, like, Madara behind it. Instead it was Nagato, whatever. I'm just saying shit out of my ass, okay? Or, even if the Akatsuki weren't a thing, it was just fucking Nagato and Konan, okay? Like, let's say fucking Nagato's good, like the Edo Nagato that we saw in the War Arc, you know what I mean? Where he was crazy fucking powerful and shitting on KCM1 Naruto and Killer B at the same fucking time, effortlessly, like while nerfed and being controlled by Kabuto, which is technically another nerf in a sense. Like fucking does all that shit. But let's say he's alive now, that's the main difference, you know what I mean? Same type of, whatever. And he hears about this Madara, right? And he's like, all right, this Madara is causing some fucking problems, you know what I mean? He needs to kind of be dealt with. Let me try to talk with him like dumbass Inoki did, like, right? Yeah, wasn't it Inoki that tried to actually talk some shit to Madara, and he's like, hey, like, fuck you, and then Madara was like, I'll kill you, bitch, sit your ass down. But like, literally, like, let's say that kind of similar happens, Nagato finds Madara, and I'm gonna refer to like the paths of pains kind of coming. Okay, are you playing some music? This man comes in here and just blasting music.
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
Yeah.
Brother.
Who's watching?
Okay, you're an asshole. You just come in here and start playing some goddamn music while I'm just fucking talking.
Oh, can you hear that in the background?
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yeah.
Ding-a-ling. No, you're fine. I'm just giving you shit. But what I was saying, back to the thing. So pain, passive pains. I wouldn't say all of them. I'd say maybe the summoning, right? Summoning goes up to Madara, and he's like, hey, like, you need to stop what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you don't, then you have to deal with me. And then Madara sees his eyes, and he's like, what the fuck is that shit? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, huh? Like, now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm actually curious what you guys' thoughts are going to be on this. Jiraiya and Kakashi and a lot of other Naruto characters kind of knew about the six paths. The whole thing about the six paths guy, and always thought, and knew it was like talked as like a legend or myth or whatever, but they kind of believed in it in a way, whatever. But I think that was only really known because Jiraiya met Nagato with the Rinnegan. But let's say Jiraiya didn't meet Nagato, I don't think the Hidden Leaf would have ever had any intel of knowing anything about the sixth path, right? Hashirama didn't know about him. Nobody didn't know anything about the Rinnegan or the sixth path, or Hagoromo, So if Madara saw that eye,
Madara knew.
Well, he finds out after when he leaves the Uchiha village. This is when he has EMS. He leaves the leaf and leaves the Uchiha because even they casted him out. They're like, fuck you. He goes and reads the Tone Stablet, and when he read it, he grew into despair. His hatred grew even more, whatever, because basically reading something that it's basically meaningless, and no matter what, it's just always going to, be a shitty ending, basically. because Zetsu manipulated the writing. And so when he read that, he was like, okay, well, fuck life. You know what I mean? Like, bet, I'll figure out another way. You know, so be it. Infinite Tsukiyomi, whatever, yada yada. And that's when he had the talk with Hashirama. Hashirama was like, bro, like, what you on about? He didn't know what his plan was. And then they leave, and then we know what happens after that. They have the final Valley of the End fight, so on and so forth, etc. So I'm talking about, like, before he even sees that. Because if anything, you could actually argue that's a fucking mega mental amp for Madara. You know what I mean? With the whole Sharingan thing, the whole narrative behind that, how, like, the more your hatred grows or emotion or pain or whatever, you get more powerful and stronger, you know? So I'm talking about a Madara where, regardless if he has EMS or MS, I'll talk about MS in a bit, but I'm just going to strictly focus on EMS, okay, to where, you know, Susano's not really going to fuck him in the ass, and he's not going to be going blind and, you know, whatever. So that's why I'm giving him EMS. You know, where he hasn't read the Stone Tablet yet, doesn't know shit about the Rinnegan, doesn't know any of that, whatever, doesn't even have that, like, that mental amp or whatever, okay, doesn't have any of that shit. You know, it's just him doing his thing, like when he was with the village, whatever, but he's still an asshole, okay? And it goes from there, and I'm being, like I said, back to my question, I don't think he would have any recollection of knowing what the Rinnegan or anything about it, right? Like, there's no way.
No.
Like, he would look at that eye, and now, let's be real, Madara is a fucking genius. His analysis abilities are insane. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, so when he sees those eyes, he's gonna know, like, okay, that seems like the real deal. Like, I might need to be a little bit cautious. You know what I mean? You know, he'll probably immediately activate his Sharingan. I wouldn't say MS, but just probably his Sharingan. And then from there, you know, like, they'll start talking, and then Madara will be like, shut the fuck up, you ant, whatever, you know, being Madara. And then basically Nagato's like, alright, bet. And he starts doing the summoning jutsu. And then it just starts going off from there. And I kid you not, if we were to see a fight like that, hands down, that would be a fucking awesome fight. Or better yet, you know, even seeing a fight like Itachi versus the Passive Pains, or, you know, or whatever. Like, that would just be so cool. You know what I mean? Like, now, obviously, at the end of the day, I still think Madara would win in the end, but, you know, it'd be fucking really cool. You know, and then obviously, I think how the way it would go is Pain would be fighting, they'll be filling each other out. Madara would be instantly deducing the Rinnegan's abilities. If Kakashi can do it and Jiraiya can fucking do it out of all people, there's no way you're not telling me Madara can't fucking do it. He would just do it a million times faster. Fucking, you know, and go from there. Like, a prime example, if someone's really going to be a rat and be like, Madara can't do it, which I don't know why they would, but you'd be surprised. There's people out there that do this shit. Okay? Yeah, you know, fucking, they'll be like, oh, Madara wouldn't be able to. He would struggle like Jiraiya and not know what's going on, you know, and fucking no. One prime example, fucking Six Path Sasuke with his Rinnegan ability. Madara was like, what the fuck? And then immediately was able to realize what was happening with his Rinnegan ability alone, you know? So that's a feat itself that's actually in there, okay, by Kishimoto. And then with all the other narrative and his intelligence, etc., statements, those feats, you know what I mean? Like, it's so dumb to even, it's not an argument. It's not even up for discussion. So it gets to a point where basically, you know, now, you know, they're both feeling each other out. Madara's realizing what's going on. And then eventually, in my opinion, it's going to get to the point where fucking Nagato is literally going to have to basically, like, I know damn well he's going to have to bring all the passive pains out for Madara. Like, there's just no way he's winning that shit with just, you know, the other ones. You know what I mean? Like, Tendo will have to eventually get involved. You know what I mean? I don't think that's too crazy to say. And then, you know, with the whole linked vision, this is a whole other separate thing. Like, do you think Madara is just straight up speed blitzing and the linked vision just doesn't do shit? You know what I mean? Like, and whatever. Or do you think the linked vision would still do what it's supposed to do and they would be able to dodge because of that vision? And as long as Madara creates those openings or severs the link or creates a situation where he's fighting one-on-one, then he's fine, you know? That's a whole other thing, but regardless, let's say we grant that to Pain and his link vision compensates for, you know, the difference in power, etc. Okay, you know, they're doing their thing, whatever, fighting. I feel like then it gets to a point where, you know, like, if Madara starts doing some, like, Genjutsu type strategy and then initiating, like, his fire style and all this other shit, whatever, he's going to definitely be taking down some paths of pains, You know what I mean? I do believe that. Like, unless... Because, see, this is what's interesting. Like, if Tendo Pain is not pulling up immediately, and let's say, like, the summoning pain, like, you know, he's having a hard time, like better yet, I would say it starts off with, you know that dog summoning, right? That's immortal? Like, even though Madara obviously is so fucking powerful, do you think Madara could Genjutsu the dog? Even though it's Rinnegan eyes?
Well, to be fair, that's a projection of the Rinnegan. It doesn't. I don't think it grants the same protection that the actual Rinnegan would. Like, I don't think
that's fair.
It's Nagato, but the summoning possibly.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I believe he could more than likely probably be able to Genjutsu the summoning, which that would take care of the dog. Obviously, he doesn't have a Mataratsu, so his fire, like, don't get me wrong, his fire style attacks are are fucking crazy powerful, but they're not a Mataratsu level. I think that's really weird to say and kind of hard to prove. But like, I don't think his fire style is gonna do it. Obviously, Susano won't do it. That'll just make it more worse. So he's gonna either have to Genjutsu, or if he goes into his perfect Susano, he's gonna have to launch that fucking dog like, like fucking miles away. Which the way that dog works is when you cut it through, it just splits in half and splits into more pieces. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you have to hit it and then it does that ability. You know what I mean? Like, fucking... So, if anything, like, I'm pretty sure, like, the dog would just split the moment he's getting cut. And then it's just creating more dogs. And Madara's like, alright, well, this isn't really getting me anywhere. I either need to kill the summoning path, or I just need to Genjutsu this shit. You know what I mean? So that's how he can kind of approach that. Either way, things will be dealt with. Madara could definitely be able to do it. And it just kind of gets to the point where, like, while other passive pains are joining the fight, basically, like, I feel like Madara's going to do great. Definitely probably take out some pass. He'll figure it out, whatever, 2 or whatever. And then, obviously, then Tendo Pain and Osteopath come in, the big boys, right? They come in, the other paths get brought back by the other path of pain. Madara's like, what the fuck is going on? I took those out. Like, okay, interesting. And then he immediately deduces what's going on. And then from there, now you got all 6 passive pains, right? And then they're fighting Madara or whatever, they're going. Even though you could argue Madara, maybe getting fatigued, whatever, but Madara has a ridiculous amount of stamina and chakra. Like, crazy amount. The motherfucker was able to fight, for like a whole day with Hashirama?
Yeah, with fucking Sharingan.
Yeah, while
EMS.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Nagato is a bitch. Like, he has crazy stamina and chakra too. Like, it's ridiculous, okay? But, like, the motherfucker was getting exhausted by the time he had to fight a mentally amped Seijima Naruto after having the talk with Minato, He was very fucking tired at that point, And Madara, on the other hand, was fucking fighting for a full goddamn day, and then was exhausted. So, Madara is not going to be exhausted, you know what I mean? Or fucking to the point where, like, he's kind of fucked and, like, what Kakashi would be dealing with, or Jiraiya and all these other people. That ain't happening, So he would still be fine. You could say he's fatigued and whatever, but he's fine, So, and basically what it's going to get is, I feel like a similar situation would happen with the 5 Kage, to where eventually Pain will, like, be able to push Madara to a point where he's going to be running a corner, and then Madara will finally get serious and be like, alright, bet, I'll respond with full power moment, go into perfect Susano. And then at that point, it's like, bro. You know what I mean? Like, Chibaku Tensei, I highly, highly doubt that's going to take care of perfect Susano Madara. I just don't see it. And the reason why is because, like, yeah, obviously Nagato's crazy powerful. Maybe there's ways to argue it, because how much chakra he has, whatever. He's alive, especially if he's not, like, crippled with all this shit in him or whatever, and let's say he's just controlling his passive pains while he's in the background or whatever. I don't fucking know, but if anything, like, we know Edo Nagato did a Chibaku Tensei for B, Naruto, and Itachi. And it was literally to the point where Naruto and B were freaking the fuck out, like, well, what do we do? And then Itachi's like, hey, like, relax, whatever, blah, blah. And then they all throw the strongest jutsus and they dealt with it. I'm going to tell you right now, Madara's perfect Susano strike is way more fucking powerful than what they did. You know what I mean? Like, way more powerful. And that's an Edo Nagato doing his Shibaku Tensei. Now, obviously, in Alive would probably be even more stronger, and be more powerful, but I still think Madara would be able to split that Shibaku Tensei. That's just me. What do you think? Do you think Nagato gets a W if he does Shibaku Tensei, or do you think Madara is slicing that shit up with his PS?
Which Madara are we talking about? I'm a little.
We're not MS, not the MS. EMS before he reads the tablet, meaning no mental amp with the hatred and all that, no knowledge about the Rinnegan. You know what I mean? This is while he's kind of having issues with the hidden leaf, and then eventually is starts to leave, and then Nagato comes across him because he's hearing a bunch of problems with Madara and yada yada. That's kind of the scenario.
He should be able to.
I think he could. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. It's fair to maybe say that Nagato gets a W from that, but I don't know.
No.
You know what I mean?
The one thing that we're forgetting is that Nagato's Rinnegan is pretty much Madara's Rinnegan. So
true.
It doesn't really fucking matter.
Well, yes, but at least obviously at this point, the reason why Nagato has the Rinnegan because it's his. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So, which obviously, if you put that into consideration, now Nagato's not having really to deal with the massive amount of consumption of chakra, and you name it, blah, blah, kind of similar what Kakashi has to deal with and Obito had to deal with. And what's even crazy is Obito is a fucking Uchiha, meaning he has the genetics to technically be able to eventually, have his own Rinnegan maybe, or withstand. Yet he was struggling with that shit, so. Yeah. If it's his eye, that's even more beneficial. Now he's not having to deal with the drawbacks of that, you name it. So that would even make Nagato even more stronger. It does amp you even further, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So, maybe going into that scaling and perspective, you know what I mean? Because we saw what it did for Madara, you know what I mean? Then imagine what it could do for Nagato, So it comes to the question to where, does Nagato get a W with that jutsu? Because he's, powerful or enough or whatever, or does Madara he's like, oh fuck, whatever, and then he's in his PS and just slices it and that's it. It's going either way, you know what I mean? So
yes, but the thing is, even though I feel like what you're saying is right, the Uchihas are a little bit different. They have their own fucking shit, and then they're like, okay, fine, this is how it's gonna be. I'm gonna change it. So I don't know if it's really mad, if it's really that much of a matter as you say it's supposed to be.
What do you mean? What did you say?
Did
you hear him okay? I didn't hear that.
No, you heard him, yeah.
What did
I
you say?
didn't get any of that. I have.
Wait, what were you saying again? Can you say it again?
I didn't hear what you were saying towards the end. You were talking about Madara.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Wait a second.
Did you forget?
I did.
Okay, it's fine. So, at least to conclude this point, I think it's still fair to say Madara could slice it in half. Maybe if you really
what you said was that Uchihas have it a bit different, but I don't.
Yeah, they're built different, blah blah. Yeah, which that's fine, but once again, Nagato. I mean, literally what we're doing here, which is weird. We're obviously giving Nagato fucking amps that he would never be able to have, obviously. But obviously he would have to be an Uchiha, so that's the first thing.
Well, I mean, if we want to be fair, Uzumaki's are also built kind of differently.
And that too, yeah, they are.
Exactly.
Kind of true, but the point is, Uzumakis are pretty much the descendants of Homura, right?
Yes.
Hamura.
Yeah. Or Ashura, Ashura,
yeah. So they're not completely as dependent as Uchihas with respect to Haguramo.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, we're talking about two different
let me rephrase this then. So there's two Nagatos we can discuss here. You either have the prime alive Nagato that we saw towards the war arc, but obviously this is Edo instead. Okay, and you can talk about that one. And if it's that particular Nagato, but alive instead, I don't think his Shibaku Tensei is getting the job done. That's just me.
Definitely.
But
not.
if it is his own Rinnegan, okay. So so now let's say if it is his Rinnegan, now instead of him being Uzumaki whatever, he's an Uchiha instead, and let's just say he's always using the Rinnegan for whatever fucking reason.
Okay.
You know what I mean? All that. Then at that point, I feel like you could argue he could probably get a W with Chibaka Tensei.
True.
With the Madara that you're talking about, one of the things that I don't know if you've taken into account yet is he can summon the Nine-Tails.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the point
that is true.
What can the Nine-Tails do? Like,
Okay, yeah, the Nine-Tails isn't doing shit against Shibaku Tensei though either.
Yeah. Considering the fact that Sasuke just looked at all of the tail beasts and was like, yeah, you're all in my control. Fuck off.
But I don't think Sasuke is as powerful as 6 past Sasuke.
But then again, this actually an interesting question. You both just brought up something interesting to think about. Because Madara had to resort to using Limbo in order to deal with all the tail beasts. He knew his PS wasn't gonna was not gonna get the job done, and so on and so forth. He had to use Limbo, and then use the chains to get a statue and wrap it up. So, when Sasuke did the Rinnegan Genjutsu, which was ridiculous, it was an insane feat. But this is when he's 6 paths. Do you think Madara could be able to do Rinnegan Genjutsu as well, or only Mangekyo Genjutsu?
Not as per to the point.
Not as Sasuke, yeah. But you think he can do Rinnegan Genjutsu too?
He could be, but considering the fact that we don't even know what Madara's Mangekyo abilities
are, we didn't know what his abilities.
It's pretty much a weird point to talk about.
Well, there's one way to know, because I didn't even know this originally, but apparently they showed Madara's abilities in the games, in the Naruto games.
which is pretty much like commenting on.
Yeah, so that's a whole thing. Which at the end of the day, I don't have a fucking problem with. I already know there's gonna be someone in the background be like, that fucking cannon, whatever. But like fucking, but either way, like who the fuck cares? Like Kishimoto never wrote shit in the manga, never wrote shit in the anime, like. So, my bad that someone actually wanted to please the fans and be like, hey, yeah, what the fuck was his abilities, bro? And they gave something. So, guess what? To me, that's my fan canon, baby.
Yes, but then again, Batman, let us think about a case where Madara could actually manipulate time to where he can rewind to a particular amount of seconds.
Yeah.
Do you really think that Madara would have lost to Hashirama in that case?
No, he wouldn't have. He would have won. If he had that ability, he most fucking definitely would have won. That's a different. Obviously
that's what happened in the game. He used it
exactly. I did.
Wait, what you mean? I never played the game. I just know about the ability.
He used it against Hashirama in the Valley of the End, and he fucking lost.
And he still lost after using the ability, bruh.
Yeah, he still lost. Yes.
Just scaling Hashirama more to a point where you're like, okay, fine, this guy is not even.
All right, but let me say this though. So all right, let's get back to Nagato, but he's not Uchiha, right? He's an Uzumaki with the Rinnegan, same bullshit. Okay, I don't think Shibaku is getting the job done. Madara was cutting through that shit. That's just me.
Definitely not.
Okay, so and at that point, that's not a working out. Now Nagato's like fuck. And then Madara, basically just gets ready to swipe his sword like he was about to do to the Kage. And at that point, the only way you could really argue for the passive pains is if, while Madara went into the perfect Susano, actually, not even. What could actually happen right when he's about to slice them all? Because there's 2 arguments. There's only 2 that Pain can do. And he would do this in character because he is fucking smart. There's 2 arguments. One, either you have to argue his Shinra Tensei could somehow negate the perfect Susano sword, which, I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know about all that. It's a possibility that maybe it could happen. You know what I mean? If we analyze Shinra Tensei, right? If we analyze it, you look at the data book statement, whether if you think it's just hyperbole or hyperbolic, or if you want to take it hyperliteral, okay? The way basically it's worded and phrased is that it could just negate anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter about size, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever the fucking case may be, it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? You get bodied, basically, okay? And that's it. Simple, right? And then immediately someone's getting, I already hear it in the background in the comments on my YouTube channel when this is posted, with 6 tails, he reversed recoil, and all, whatever. Okay. So what they forget is the fucking context. First off, the Six Tails not only used all 6 of his tails into the fucking ground to help with the laws of physics, basically, and anchor himself into the fucking ground. Okay, like, there's that to put into consideration. And 2, it's the fucking Six Tails of the Nine Tails power. I mean, he's pretty fucking strong as it is, too. You know, like, so yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to tank it in a way and then reflect the recoil. While then you look at Pain, this motherfucker's fucking fatigued. He's not at full power. He's fucking exhausted. You know what I mean? He just went through all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, fucking shortened his life and his power for the second time that's stated by Conan verbatim. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these variables that everyone fucking is dismissive of. But anyways, so with all that put into consideration, if you take all those variables out of the fucking equation, you know, no anchors, none of that other bullshit, whatever, okay, I don't know. I think you could say fucking Tendo Pain could more than likely fucking do either a chaotic Shinra Tensei, maybe you can argue for that, or if you really want to be fucking going all out, say even a normal Shinra Tensei, or maybe with a little bit more chakra juice, right, or whatever, can be able to maybe either stalemate the perfect Susano slice, or better yet, negate it, because what we do know is perfect Susano is chakra. It's blatantly stated. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking chakra. So
I don't know if it would negate it, because the Six Tails also is covered in chakra, and it didn't negate that chakra. So I think it, as far as the negation for the Shinra Tensei, I think that's a quantity thing.
And that's fair, because even Monoichi brought that up when I was debating at a certain point. But one thing I would say, at least towards that, is, you know, for one, it's kind of like how it's being utilized as well in a sense. And 2, when Naruto threw his fucking Sage Art Rising Shuriken, okay, that shit poofed. I swear to God, it was like it just vanished. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the Shinra Tensei just like utilized laws of physics and recoil and just launched it way backwards. Nah, like that, it literally like looked like it just got negated, like just gone. You know what I mean? A hack's ability. You know what I mean? And like if he's doing that shit to a Rising Shuriken, which is very fucking powerful. You know what I mean? Like, the Rising Shuriken is no goddamn joke, okay? It's an S-rank jutsu for a reason. Was only accomplished by Naruto because, you know, his stamina chakra and having the Nine Tails chakra as well, and all his shadow clones, okay? Like, the Rising Shuriken is no joke. And the fact that a tired, fatigued, you know what I mean, shortened life fucking Tendo Pain is able just to do a basic-ass Shinra Tensei and make that shit poof, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's, and that, mind you, that is literally embodied by chakra and Sage Art nature energy. You know, so I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm getting at? So
I think the best way to look at it is maybe you could say that it canceled out the chakra that was there, but because he's constantly being fed chakra, it just regrew. Yeah. So maybe that's one.
And that too. That's a really good point. I was about to bring that up, Ken. Exactly. With the V2, you know what I mean? How the Nine Tails just has basically almost infinite fucking chakra. Obviously, it doesn't have infinite, but it kind of seems like it with how much ridiculous amount of chakra it has. It's literally the most strongest tail beast out of all. Has the largest chakra pool capacity. You name it. Like, so if it has that much chakra, even like let's say he did his Shinra Tensei. Let's say, yeah, it would have it should have went away, right? The chakra, but it just immediately grew back instantaneously. That's it, and it just happens within a split moment. And if you want to be like, oh well, that wasn't shown, okay. When you watch Dragon Ball, we know that they're moving at fucking millions of times at the speed of light, or moving so fast before your heart could even beat as a human being. Yet we're still perceiving and looking at them like they're moving in normal speed or not so quick or whatever, when we know how fast they're moving at. You know what I mean? It's the same exact shit like that, to where that's all it is, which is why the chakra didn't fully disappear, because, you know what I mean, it has so much chakra, even if it didn't go away for a split moment, it just came right back, you know? While the Rising Shuriken is thrown, it's a projectile, and only has a certain amount of chakra. You know what I mean? That's all. So, with all that being said in a nutshell, okay, you could argue that he could just negate the fucking Susano's chakra and everything and just poof, you know what I mean? And then he gets hit by the fucking Shinra Tensei. And if that is the case, whether if he does chaotic or normals, that's a fucking problem for Madara. Yeah, obviously he can keep resummoning, you know, Susano, you know, but that's a problem. That makes his attacks useless, basically. You know what I mean? It's kind of similar to where, like, I've heard it, apparently this is a thing in Boruto, because someone was bitching about it on social media, to where everybody has absorption fucking abilities. Apparently that's a thing. But anyways,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Yeah. But look at the concept of that. It's ridiculous. That's a broken ass ability. It literally makes ninjutsu irrelevant. You know, so if you have that type of scenario and you are able to argue it, and you know, obviously I'm not saying concretely prove that it is hacks based, but there is arguments for it, and there is evidence and feats that you can use to prove that point. That's what I'm saying.
I completely agree, but the only problem that I have is that since you don't know actually what Madara's abilities are, which even Kishimoto has not revealed yet, but the point is, let us say Madara has Amaterasu. Let's think about an example. If Madara has actually Amaterasu, and then he's like, okay, fine, let me just deal with this guy with Amaterasu, and then this guy just pulls everything towards him, and he's like getting punched by fucking Amaterasu everywhere, and he has no other fucking way to deal with it except the fucking QB cloak thing that he used against Sasuke in the final battle. You know what I mean? So if he cannot use that shit, there's no other way that anybody can fucking recover from that, as far as I can see.
Wait, so are you saying if Madara was going against someone that had a Mataratsu, that he would die by a Mataratsu?
No. I'm just saying that if Madara actually had a Materasu...
Okay. Oh, you're saying it would be a W for pain?
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, because what we do know is fucking when Itachi did a Mataratsu on Nagato, when he was kind of like in control, and he's like, alright, bet, kill me, baby. You know what I mean? Like, literally, that's what he did. Fucking, he's burning, and then Kabuto immediately controls him and makes him bloodlusted.
Yeah, but
he just Shira Tenseis that shit away.
Exactly, but then again, Kabuto had to take a little bit of a time because he didn't know that Nagata had this ability until he actually figured out that, okay, fine, I can probably try using this, which is probably his words throughout the whole fucking fight.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do agree with that. Kabuto's a fucking dingling. Yeah. Like he was he was the type of guy where he's using like, it's like you get like a brand new pack of Pokemon cards, right? And you're so excited, and you have like some legendaries that you don't know shit about, you know what I mean? But you're just gonna throw them on the battlefield because why not, right? Because you know they're powerful.
Exactly.
That's literally what he was fucking doing. And
so if it was actually alive Nagato, it would be a completely fucking different scenario. But then again, at the time, Nagato did not actually know about the abilities of Rinnegan until he actually kept using it time and time again. Example against Hanzo.
Yeah, you want to know what's interesting about that? Which that's a fair argument, but I'm going to ask you this question because to my knowledge, I've seen the anime 3 times. I've read the manga twice, Naruto and Shippuden, and I don't think it's ever stated how Nagato even acquired and learn of the Rinnegan abilities. And I think the only way you can really think of
it has never been stated.
Yeah, it's never been stated. So meaning you can only assume and use certain type of evidence to argue. And I believe what that could pertain to is there's 2 type of arguments. 1, Obito told him, okay, and that's how he learned. Or 2, he learned it from using the Rinnegan while he was training with Jiraiya. It's one of the 2.
I mean,
what do you think? I'm gonna let you guys answer that. What do you think?
I think
Which
it's
one?
A combination of 3 things. I think Jiraiya helped him out by helping him learn the 5 elemental things. I think Obito taught him stuff about it. But then we also know that he could summon like the ghetto statue before even meeting Obito and keep him with him.
Yeah.
So I think it's
true.
Oh no! Wait, Ken. But see, but Obito met him though. Like he introduced himself.
No, Obito met him, but he
never told him anything about the ghetto or anything. Did he tell him about the ghetto or no?
No, he did not. He manipulated him to such a way that he can actually create a Katsuki.
Okay.
Nothing more than that.
Well, yeah, no, I know that. Okay. So, I thought he actually did tell him about the...
No, the Akatsuki was already a thing. Obito went
what I was saying...
help them out, and he turned them down. And then after Yagato's death, he went back to Obito.
Yeah, what I was saying though is like I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I thought my memory wise that Obito told him about the ghetto statue and Infinite Tsukiyomi and blah blah, which is why he was able to utilize that at that point.
As far as I can remember, Obito did mention that Nagato is the only person who managed to summon the Gedo statue, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this guy can be the path to peace, if
Okay.
it makes any sense. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, what do you guys? Back to the question though. What do you think though? Like, you think it's a mix of all of them? Or do you think it's only one? Or what are you feeling? You think it's a mix of both?
I still believe that even if Nagato was alive, he'd probably not even be as strong as he was during his Edo.
Okay, here's another crazy topic since we're just talking about Pain and Nagato, one of my favorite characters. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. Okay, imagine if this motherfucker knew about Limbo.
but
What do you do, bro?
but the point is, all of the abilities with respect to Rinnegan as well as the Sharingan,
Yeah.
at least the Mangekyo, is that it's only the people who actually possess it that they can use it. So let us say if like the eyes that Nagato had is pretty much Madara's eyes. So if Madara, even if he knew that, Nagato cannot use it. You know what I mean? It's
So you think he wouldn't be able to use it?
Yeah, he probably would not be.
So
Because-
here's my arguments against that. And the reason why I think he would most definitely be able to probably use it if he knew about the ability, which is why he never used it, because I don't think he ever knew, because I don't think Obito ever told him, which is smart. Is there's a couple things.
Even Obito knew about
Yeah,
it.
Obito knew about it. And the reason why it's literally stated verbatim to where Madara questions to use Limbo to speed things up, and he's like, no, Obito still has my Rinnegan. It'd be very wise for me not to do that and to figure out a different way to go about the situation. So there's that, and then you also have another point where Madara is also not using Limbo like at all these other points in time, and because Obito's there and he has a Rinnegan, and for some reason that's like he's just not doing it, which that kind of supports to where Madara didn't really want to do it because maybe Obito could then realize, oh shit. Like, I have this a bit. Like, let's say Obito didn't even know. Like, he's like, oh, okay, I must be able to do that too then. And then he used it, and it's a problem. You know what I mean? Or two, Obito did know about it, but he didn't know, like, exactly maybe how to, like, maybe enforce it or whatever. And then if he were to see Madara do it, then he would immediately be able to kind of grasp, like, okay, that's how that works, and then do it. I don't fucking know. Or he didn't know at all. And then if Madara did it, then Obito would be like, okay, bet, I can do that, and he does it. It's either way, So what I'm trying to say is, if you have that, okay, that's a good point, an argument to make that maybe Nagato could be able to do it. And two, okay, then look at Madara. When he takes Kamui, he can use Kamui. Then you have Sasuke when Itachi implanted his abilities. He could use a he could use a Mataratsu at that one moment when he locked eyes against Obito. Then you have the point where, like fucking. What's another good example of like stealing abilities? Oh, Kakashi. He's not even his eye, but he's using Kamui. You know what I mean? Obito's fucking ability. So like, as long as you have the eye. Whatever the abilities are, you should be able to use them. You obviously just have to learn how to use it. Kind of similar to Kakashi. He didn't know how to fucking use Kamui from the day one, or better yet, probably couldn't because of the massive amount of chakra it requires, which indicated to when he fainted. I'm pretty sure that's why he fainted was because it used so much chakra it just knocked him the fuck out. So. Like, for one, there's that, but then two, when he eventually was getting stronger and growing larger in chakra reserves and stamina, okay, and getting better with chakra control, then he's, like, training, he's like, oh, shit, I have a Mangekyo too, now training to use Kamui gets better and better and better as he goes out, so Danzo with his eyes, Shishui's ability, so there's so many examples that if you have the eye, you can do the ability, so that's also a really other good point, but now you go.
But the only issue that I have is that if Sasuke would actually know what Tsukiyomi is, how strong, how fucking broken it is, and he never used it against fucking Killer Bee, which is pretty much his first fight after he got his fucking...
But Sasuke doesn't have Tsukiyomi, that's why.
No, but the point is, Sasuke, after getting his brother's eyes, after his thing with Naruto, where Naruto is like, yeah, if you and I fight, we both die. And the fact that Sasuke never uses Tsukiyomi, quote unquote, he never uses it, but at the same time he gets fucking mocked in the war as well. Like, except, like, obviously he's fighting against Obito, but then again, it's a little bit of a weird thing that he never uses Tsukuyomi, he never tries to test its limits or abilities, because we know that Sasuke is a very tactical fighter. He always wants to try out his stuff. Like, even when he's fighting Killer Bee, he's like, yeah, Amaterasu is something that I want to try, quote unquote. And then when he's fighting against the Raikage, he's like, yeah, quote unquote, Susano is something that I want to try.
Yeah.
And he's that kind of a character, and he never uses Tsukuyomi throughout the whole fucking battle. The only phase where he uses it is probably against the fucking Raikage's guards.
Yeah.
Which is not Tsukuyomi, it's just a normal genjutsu. It's not even activating his Mangekyo as far as I can see in the anime.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that well versed in the manga, but as far as the anime is concerned, yes. He only uses normal genjutsu, and he's like, yeah, I've got this motherfucker down.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you. I get you.
Yeah, it feels a little bit weird, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I get it. But, like, I don't know, like, what are your, just briefly, what are your thoughts, Loke and Ken? Do you think it's really unreasonable for Nagato to be able to use the ability if he knew about it?
I do feel like Nagato would not be able to use it. Because Sasuke, like, take an example of Sasuke. He was able to use Amaterasu only because Itachi had it. As far as the series have shown us.
Well, no, that's not true. So, Sasuke was able to, he had two abilities. It's literally stated and it's explained and everything.
Yeah.
He has two abilities. They're both Amaterasu. One was Amaterasu. The second one was flame control. Exactly. Yeah. Manipulating, you name it. And that's all it was. So, which, with that being the case, all right, so, hear me out. So what you're saying, like, you're trying to basically have an argument and debunk the whole concept of Nagato being able to use Madara's ability with the fact with talking about Sasuke and Itachi. So what I'm hearing so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, that since, Sasuke took Itachi's eyes and gained the EMS or whatever, that he didn't have Tsukuyomi, meaning if he couldn't use that ability, then why would Nagato be able to use Madara's ability? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that being said, the reason why that doesn't really work is because, for one, it's an EMS that's completely different. It's literally transcending and kind of like evolving you, if that makes sense, in a nature to where it's basically like blowing you up, not only in power, but it's like, I don't know the best way to explain it. I don't know if you want to help me out here, Loke and Ken. But literally to the where, he already had his abilities before. So when he gets EMS and just takes Itachi's eyes, it's just going to be his abilities because he's an Uchiha. Like, that's just how it works with the Uchiha. When you take your family member's eyes, you don't gain their abilities. You still keep your abilities. You just get stronger and don't have to deal with the drawbacks of blindness, pain, and, and so on and so forth. So with that being the case, that's kind of like doesn't like work in a sense because it's still his abilities. You know what I mean? It's completely different compared to taking Obito's eye as Kakashi, or or Madara taking the other eye of Obito and using Kamui, or Danzo using Shishui's eye, or Itachi using Shishui's eye, or or better yet, the other guy using the Byakugan. You know what I mean? Like all this other shit. So with that being the case, those are actual examples of people just taking eyes that don't belong to them, and they have no fucking problem using the abilities. So if you look at that and then look at what you're exactly explaining, it's completely different. Do you understand what I'm saying or no? If you don't, then maybe Loke and Ken can kind of explain that to you.
Okay. No, I get it. I just completely forgot about Danzo. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. But it's fair. That was a good point. So what I will say from here, back to my question though, to you, Ken and Loke, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think he would be able to do it? I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. That's just me. Let me know what you think.
I don't think he would be able to. Because so the examples you brought were good ones, but the problem that I have with them is they're all examples of Sharingan. Well, this is the Rinnegan, and the Rinnegan has its own different rules. Like, so Madara has certain things that he can do with his Rinnegan. that like Nagato clearly wasn't able to. Sasuke has different abilities altogether. Kaguya seems to have different abilities with her Rinnegan, so I think it's a matter of the Rinnegan is more personalized to the person. Does that make sense?
So
Yeah, like it's not the generic ability; it's special.
So
if you have
okay.
a gun, you can use all the paths.
So here's how I would approach that or try to argue against that, which that's a good point. So I would say, look at Sasuke, Obito, Nagato, and Madara. Okay, or better yet, yeah, Sasuke's fine too. When all of them have a Rinnegan, right? Yet all of them can use all the past abilities. It's literally shown. So if Madara has, you know what I mean, his own ability, which it's even stated to where Nagato's ability was with the whole, like he was like called like the seventh pain or something, whatever, like the seventh ability, which is,
that's the outer path.
Yeah, it's the outer path, but which that was the whole thing where they were kind of making it seem like that was his, like, you know, shenanigans or whatever, but it wasn't. Obviously, as you learn, it's contradicted eventually, but you know, you have that, and then you go back to Sasuke's ability, right? What he had. Then you go back to Madara, what his ability. Obviously, two different abilities. But this is what I'm trying to say. It's still the Rinnegan, okay? So let's say like Sasuke took Madara's eye, or better yet, actually, this is even a good point. Madara even states it verbatim that, you know what, that eye's abilities is pretty fucking broken. That'd be a really good eye for me to have. I'm gonna steal your eye. He goes to try to steal it from Sasuke, and then Sasuke literally uses like his hacks ability and kind of fucks him up. He's like, I dare you, come and try it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, if Madara's over here, huh?
Are you talking about his Shari Rinnegan, the Rinnegan that Sasuke got?
Yeah, the Rinnegan that Sasuke has. Yeah, and if Madara is implying and saying basically like he wants that eye because, you know, how it looks and the power and the ability it has. You know what I mean? That'd be very convenient for me. I don't know, bro, because then now Madara would have Limbo and that ability. You know what I mean? So if Madara is kind of given an implication that he can be able to acquire that ability and, you know, utilize it if he's able to take it from Sasuke, why wouldn't Nagato not be able to do the same? You know what I mean? Like if he has an eye. So there's that. And then another thing.
You could argue Madara just doesn't know himself, because I mean he himself had not really ever got a chance to use the Rinnegan. He awakened it, died, and then it was automatically transferred. So you can argue that he just doesn't know the full rules of the Rinnegan, and he's just going off like what he thinks the MS does.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, and another thing I was gonna bring up is, you know, they all have the same passive abilities. They all use them, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's clearly shown that, like, you know, the Rinnegan abilities. So if they can all use it. Once again, back to Nagato, what's the fucking difference? You know what I mean? So, like, I'm hearing you. I hear you both. It's a good point you have, and it makes sense. That's a good argument. You can just go, oh, well, the Rinnegan's just built different. I mean, it's more of a special thing, not more of a type of ability that's just kind of generated and anyone can use upon it as long as they require it. You know, like, I feel you. I see what you're saying, but I feel like there's a lot more pros, you know, or better yet, a lot more ways to really make it more convincing that he should be able to use the ability. But either way,
you might want to respond to that last thing real fast before we move on.
Yeah, what's up?
Because as you did say that everyone's able to use the basic abilities of the Rinnegan, that would be proof, correct?
Yes.
I feel like because we know everyone who has a Sharingan can use all the the tracking, the hypnosis, and all that, but just because you can do all that with the Sharingan doesn't mean you can use like Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi,
yeah, exactly. So,
That's a good point.
Able to use, so even if you're able to use the fucking body push or body pull or something, you cannot use the specific abilities.
Yeah, but then again, that would only.
Yeah,
but then again, that would only really work though if we're talking about Nagato having his own Rinnegan though, and that's not the case. He has Madara's Rinnegan.
No, that's fair. I'm definitely a bit more convinced on that one myself, but I don't know about anyone else.
You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying now, Ken? Like, if he had his own Rinnegan, then yeah, for sure. But he doesn't. It's Madara's Rinnegan. You know what I mean? So like
exactly.
So he should be able to use it and have it.
He should not, like, in my opinion, at least, he should not be able to do so, because if that were the case, why wouldn't he use the fucking Limbo codes using, like, when fighting against Naruto?
Easy way. He just didn't know about it.
The
That's
plot
it.
demands he doesn't.
Or better yet, there's actually two reasons. No, you really want to know the actual reason. That's actually, it's funny what Ken just said. He's not wrong. It's two reasons. One, you could easily argue he just didn't know about it, okay? And two, fucking, if Kishimoto brought that ability in that time of Naruto, it's over.
Yeah,
There's no story.
Exactly.
You know, so that's the main reason why, if I'm really being real with you and honest, why the motherfucker didn't use the ability. Because if he did, nobody would have been able to beat him.
Exactly.
Okay,
I just realized
so
how hilarious that would
so
have been
if we're-
Naruto had approached Nagato and Naruto acted weak just to sucker punch him in the back with a limbo club.
yeah, right. So, but but keep the energy. Keep the energy. Before we get to that though, keep the energy and don't forget those thoughts. I'm just gonna wrap this up. So overall, like that's the main reason. You know what I mean? Like if that really was, that's what would have happened. So if let's say that wasn't obviously the reason, and Kishimoto was like, fuck story, fuck writing, fuck money, you name it. There's so much reasons behind. Okay. And obviously plot armor, that's a thing, okay? So, with all that put into consideration, let's say that's not, now, throw that out the fucking window, okay, Nagato should be able to use it. That's just me. And I've already argued I made my points, I know you guys made yours, so let's move on from that. But, either way, it's interesting. Now let's be in make-believe fantasy land, okay? And say Nagato does have it. And let's just talk about like a what-if scenario, like what if Nagato had all the abilities of the Rinnegan, like Madara, has. Like, bro, imagine this motherfucker. Like, imagine him. All right, like,
There's no way.
yeah, right. So imagine he comes up, right? He goes to the village, or better yet, like Itachi's still around, right? And Pain's like, "Fuck you, Itachi. We're destroying the village. I don't give a fuck what you and Obito talked about. I don't give a fuck. Suck my dick. I'm killing your brother. I'm gonna go destroy the village." And Itachi's like, "Oh hell no, motherfucker!" You know what I mean? Like gets pissed. Like that look he gave to Orochimaru. You name it. He's Itachi about to go in. Limbo body.
It just becomes a fucking 7-1.
Like done. All right. So now he's dealt with. So now like then Obito gets involved. Brooke and Kevin, I don't want to fucking hear it, okay? I'm going to get on Warzone in a bit. Wait for me. So, all right, but then here's this. So then you get to the point where, okay, now that's done, right? Obito comes, he's like, bro, why'd you do that? Why'd you kill him? Like, what the fuck, man? But all right, bet, I'll hold on to these eyes. These are really important. And I'll kind of plan and do some shit. I'm going to try to manipulate Sasuke and make him my bitch, But you do you. Go get the other beast now. Sure, go, whatever. And then Pain leaves, right? And then Zetsu's like, we got a fucking problem, bro. This man's using Limbo. That wasn't supposed to happen. like, what are you going to do about him, bro? Because, his plans is he wants to use all the tail beasts and have nuclear fucking warfare. Your plan is to do Infinite Tsukiyomi. You're going to have to fight the guy eventually. So Obito's like, yeah, when it comes to that, we'll figure something out, right? So let's leave that. That's what happens, right? Then it continues on. And then Pain goes to the village, right? Gets there, same shit, fucks everybody up, okay? And, it typically goes the same way it did. Naruto shows up, okay, whatever, Limbo, gone, bye. Like, that's it, GG. Okay, then captures Naruto, it keeps going. Now he's getting on the tail beast. Pain just goes everywhere else. He's basically rushing the fucking plan. Like, he's not bullshitting, you know what I mean? Like, he's getting shit done, okay, whatever. And then from here, okay, then Pain has all the tail beasts. Okay, then finally the Akatsuki are in a meeting, and the Akatsuki are like, all right, you all have the tail beast, I'm gone. And Pain's like, all right, fine, leave, whatever. And then Obito's like, all right. And then Obito comes and he's like, hey, okay, you know what? Fucking, I'm going to, make a suggestion. I think we should use the tail beast and do Infinite Tsukiyomi. And they start talking about it, whatever. Now, this is an interesting point because I feel like in definitely, we can hear you, brother. Mute your mic real quick.
Yeah.
I need to hear that one more time in Spanish.
Okay, I muted him temporarily. I don't know. Is he just muted for me, or can you hear him?
No, I can hear him.
You can hear him? Okay, so good. I want to make sure I didn't mute him. So what's it called? So basically for me, just lower his volume if you need to. So this is an interesting topic, and I want to hear what you have to say about this Ken and Loke too. like in any what if scenario, let's say, you know what I mean, like Pain never died, whatever, it's going, and eventually the Akatsuki actually accomplished what they were supposed to. Because the whole fucking point was Obito to accomplish what he was supposed to do. He's supposed to bring back Madara and then go about it, right? But Obito wasn't going to do that. He had other plans and intentions. And Pain had his own intentions, okay? Obviously, there would be conflict at a certain point. Do you think Obito would be able to convince Pain, or a.k.a. Nagato, to do the Infinite Tsukiyomi? And then they just go whatever?
No.
Or do you think Pain's going to be like, fuck you, no, we're not doing that, and they end up fighting? What do you think?
I think they end up fighting.
Right? I really do think they end up fighting, because Nagato was set in stone on that shit. When it came to his answer piece,
Conan helped him out.
you know, Conan was riding his fucking cock. Like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, like, anyways, fucking, but literally to a point where, like, I really do think they would end up scrapping. You know, Obito obviously would probably try a lot more harder to really convince him, because he doesn't want to fight a guy that has access to all Rinnegan abilities and fucking Limbo in the ghetto statue with chains and shit, you know? So, here's how I think this would go. I think they start fighting, right? You know, it's pretty cool, whatever, you get to watch them fight. Let's say Obito's dealing with the passive pains, they're fighting, and then next thing you know, like, the passive pains get summoned away, okay? And Nagato comes out, and, you know, he's, like, right in front of Obito. Like, let's say he gets off the fucking machine, too. And he literally just goes up to Obito, right? And next thing you know, he's like, all right, Obito, it's time you know true despair. And he becomes the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki. Summons the ghetto statue, does the same thing, you know, what Obito did, or Madara. And now he's a Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki. Obviously, that would completely heal and all his injuries that he had.
Shit.
Now it's Ten Tails Nagato standing in front of Obito. Imagine that. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, calm down.
Like, wouldn't that be pretty fucking crazy?
Yeah, it would be.
Like, that shit would be crazy, bro, just thinking about. Like, that'd be a crazy, like, that'd be a beast video to even talk about, too. But anyways, I think that'd be awesome. And it can either go like that, or, you know, the passive pains just end up beating Obito, whether if it's due to them just beating him with his abilities and the rods, or better yet, if it's, or he uses Limbo, and then that's it. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Does Kamui negate Limbo?
No.
I don't think it does.
No, actually, wait. Maybe it can work, but he won't be able to.
But see,
withstand, so.
but I feel like it's going to catch him off guard either way, just like what happened with Minato. That he's going to get hit. Like, let's say he goes, you know what I mean? Because he has to materialize in order to absorb, right? So let's say he's like pushing one of the passive pains, right? Like, let's say somehow, some way, Obito fucks all the passive pains. It's just Tendo and him now, right? They rush at each other, similar moment like Minato and Obito. He goes with the rod, or he shoots the rod or whatever, or maybe does a Shin or Tensei. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing whether Shin or Tensei would negate Kamui or not. Fuck that. Let's say it can't. Kamui wins, and it goes right through him, right? Now he can't do Shin or Tensei 5-second interval. Obito's like, all right, I got to, you know, react on that. And fucking Pain goes a rod, goes right through him as well. Obito grabs his hand, and he's about to absorb him, right? You think he wins, and then Limbo comes, bam. I think that's how he would get bodied.
You got to remember that Obito doesn't just have Kamui; he has other jutsu he can use, and he can use Kamui to combine with his other jutsus. So, like, we know that in the war, he's able to combine like his fire style with his Kamui to create.
Yeah, but
I don't remember
what the fuck does that do though? Like, it just
we
gets
do know that with
it gets Shin or Tensei or absorb though, you know.
I mean, yeah, but if he gets it down to just like, so he would just have to get rid of the
Actually, you want to know what would be crazy, Ken? You just reminded me of something. Remember when Kakashi was combining Kama with his lightning blade and Shuriken? Imagine Obito fucking combining Kama with fire style Shuriken. Like, so meaning if the fire style touches you, you just get Kamui'd.
He does something like that in the war. He combines it with his fire style to create a more powerful fire style that was shown in that, even with like the majestic flame attack from Madara.
Yeah, but I don't think that was a hacked and embedded Kamui fire style. I think that was just like him using Kamui to release a fire style like out of some whatever, I don't know, and it was just more powerful for whatever reason because it was like.
What? Imagine
because
theoretically,
I'm pretty sure unless I'm capping on that, Ken, unless I'm capping hard, but I'm pretty sure like wasn't that stalemated too, like by like Naruto.
Naruto destroyed.
Yeah, so that wasn't Kamui hacks embedded then, because that would have Kamui Naruto's Kurama chakra. It would have just disappeared, you know. So yeah, so it wasn't. It was just a normal fire style. It was just more enhanced. That's all. But what I was trying to say though is, if this motherfucker had both Kamui like Kakashi did, this man would be crazy. Just shurikens would be Kamuing people, touching, looking at you, fire style. Like, what the fuck do you do? like, what do you do? You know what I mean? That shit's crazy to think about. Like, and then seeing Obito's like perfect Susano, like, oh my god, that should be, bro. Ken, what are you doing? Get that shit out of here. With your fucking hard on for, I don't know, Kakazua, okay? Like, what, did he learn the sexy transformation jutsu from Naruto? Because he got his ass rocked and he got brought back to life by Edo and revived by Reno Birth or whatever, and now he learns from Naruto, like... Damn. But anyways, back to... We talked about a lot of...
Ken, you here? Ken?
He's muted for some reason. Back to... bro, I totally forgot. I totally forgot.
I have to mute.
I totally forgot I muted fucking definitely. Hey, gone. We don't mute him.
Can you hear now? Can you hear now?
Emotionally,
Definitely.
yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Definitely. You hear me, bro?
Yeah.
I don't think you can hear me.
I can hear.
Oh, you
Okay,
can hear me?
okay.
Okay. All right. You
To get on
guys
that
hear?
side comment,
Why
Talk
don't
to
you
the
send this shit on Noodle server?
He just automatically
Here.
does, bro.
Why don't you send this stuff on Noodle server? Why is it here?
Because it makes Max angry. and that makes me funny.
All right.
Exactly.
But hey, so we're gonna go back. We talked about a lot of goated stuff. You heard everything I was saying as of now, right? Definitely.